I did before. Told you how I used to be. Would you rewatch Gossip Girl with me? If you knew my story word for word, had all of my history, would you rewatch Gossip Girl with me?
Hey Upper East Siders, Gossip Girl here, and I have the biggest news ever. One of my many sources, Melanie91, sends us this. Spotted, Grand Central Station, bags in hand. Serena Vanderwoodson. Was it only a year ago our it girl mysteriously disappeared for boarding school? And just as suddenly she's back? Don't believe me? See for yourself. Lucky for us, Melanie91 sent proof. Thanks for the photo, Mel. XOXO, Gossip Girl. Actually, I'm Alexandra. XOXO, me. Hello, welcome to the podcast. This is a podcast that I have wanted to do for quite some time. And I think it's appropriate because it's been quite some time since we've had this wonderful show called Gossip Girl, based on a book series. I will probably pronounce this wonderful author's last name wrong. That's on me. Episode 2, come back for me to pronounce it right. Cecilia von Ziegesar. Okay? I read these books as a teen. I read about 3 of them. Okay? The kiss on the lips party at the end of the first book. That was a big deal. You know, Nate was, a pothead. Okay. Pause. This is going to be real. There's going to be swearing. There's going to be some trigger warnings. I'm going to talk about things that happen in this show that now need trigger warnings for this pilot.
Haven't you heard? I'm the crazy bitch around here.
Oh, hell yeah. So who did that just pop out from? I got some sound bites popping out, okay? So I want to introduce you to my producer, okay?
3 words. 8 letters. Say it, and I'm yours.
Yeah, you know. If you know, you know. So please, a round of applause, everybody, for Brenty.
Woo!
Brenty, please tell us about yourself, what your deal is, what your passion is, and what your relationship is to Gossip Girl.
I am just a normal dude. I have no relation to Gossip Girl. I watched the first episode with you, and I know that you're really jazzed to talk about it. And I can speak on the first episode, and then we'll take it from there. So far, so good, though.
So far, so good. And we're gonna give a huge shout out to people who made this happen. Brenty and my kind bestie and my father, who waited while I got this sick footage outside the Met steps. Good morning. School is in. Class isn't started, but yes, we are at the Met steps, and shout out to those folks. I don't know if I want to name drop. We're trying to keep privacy here, but bless those folks for letting me take a nice solid 10 minutes just squatting at the steps in honor, because that's where we shall gather, okay, to discuss, to reflect, to relive, to relearn, because I think there's a lot of opportunities for that as well. Another fun element of this podcast, as you heard, are those fun little sounds. Maybe we're going to pop up some outfits, some face expressions. We're going to talk about songs, timelines, things that were happening in fashion. And I might not cut them off. I got to learn my pace. But please, again, we have one more person that we would like to introduce. The fabulous Jacqueline Blair Bisou. Yes, Blair is in Blair Waldorf. Jack Cam. Meow, meow. She likes to be up there.
It's going to be on your left shoulder there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She likes
other way, sorry.
No, it's my right shoulder.
Right shoulder.
Stage right to my shoulder. That's my girl. We call her Jackie B. Her middle name is Blair in honor of Queen Bee. Obviously, as you can see today, I have chosen to show up as who I closely identify with in this show. I think if you watched it, There may be a character or a few characters that you relate to. So a moment for the fit. You know, I got this desk, I got some essentials, but first of all, it's 2007, okay? We are doing red tights, okay? We know. There's going to be yellow, you know, there's going to be black, there's going to be patterns, there's white, there's everything fabulous. We got our Blair Waldorf on, and, you know, session is in, some shoes. A moment for the fit.
Are you here to gloat?
What'd that say?
Are you here to gloat?
Something glow?
Here to gloat?
Oh, here to gloat. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that I don't identify with as Blair. Obviously, she's a very manipulative and like revengeful character. And we're going to talk about that. Hard pause for the lip gloss. And then I'll be totally ready to dive into this. Okay. I love that every scene, every shot, those ladies, hair, gloss, outfit, you know, just like on point. So we got to stay glossed up and ready. A couple of shout outs to continue. I have this wonderful resource up. It's called gossipgirlfandom.com. Hope you're familiar. Okay, amazing. They have episode by episode. The quote that I started this episode with, which is the monologue that Kristen Bell said, the Gossip Girl narrator. We also have a full track list that they're going to help us remember, as a lot of these songs were very pivotal, like party songs and emotional songs I identified with while watching. So for example, Young Folks by Peter Bjorn and John. That gives me chills every time it comes on. I am seeing Central Park. I'm zooming around. There's leaves. There's crispiness. Oh. So something is to be said about that is that what made this show kind of cool, that's amazing you brought that up, Brenty, because that was the theme song. And it wasn't like some late 90s or like even the OC where you're seeing the characters and their name and it's super dramatic. They just had that musical whatever and like a black and white, like a black cityscape, and then boom, we're in it. And I thought that was pretty sleek and cool and different.
Gossip Girl is real?
Yeah. It turns out at the end that Gossip Girl was very real. So this will include spoilers. So if you haven't watched everything all the way through, it will be difficult for me to reflect without having the full picture of these characters and their journey. I will do my best, but also if this is your first time, congratulations. You know, get cozy, find some candy. You know, we're not starting our morning with just yogurt at the steps. Like if you want some chips, settle in, because I want this to be a conversation. I want comments. I want people who felt as inspired and like dreamy about this as I did. And I see that there's a lot of people still really fixated and excited about this era of time. You know, the Sex and the City moment of New York City, Girls, Broad City, Gossip Girl, you know, for the East Coast, that really was a lot of our cultural influences before we had social media. Let's take it back. This first episode, it's called The Pilot, which is interesting because every single episode of Gossip Girl is a pun based on a movie. So as we proceed, we'll obviously discuss the title and the pun that the movie is, but this one is just called Pilot. I have a few key essentials here. Like I mentioned, gossipgirlfandom.com on my iPad. I have a pen to make me feel important. I have notes. I have my lip gloss. And I have my first sponsor, okay? Brought to you by Tap Water.
Come on. You gotta roar.
Yeah. Yep. And as somebody who loves this show, tap in if you know the episode. Like we all know what episode that's from. Okay. Brent.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk. Brent, 2007. I'm going to hit you with some facts. I'm going to remind you about some stuff. And I know you're like a little bit younger than me, but let's just see what this hits and if you can put yourself back in this time of existence.
Okay.
June 1st. I mean, like June, the month. The first iPhone was released. First iPhone. iPhone. Like, we didn't call it iPhone 1. There was no effects, like, official texting culture. We were still, like, T9 from, like, Nokia. Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House. Woo! George W. Bush was president. Final book of Harry Potter was published. Britney shaved her head this year. Lots of
Half-Blood Prince.
What?
It was Half-Blood Prince, right? That was the last Harry Potter.
I guess, but because of the author's lack of empathy, I have to say I will not discuss that because I am pro-trans. Though,
Yeah, this isn't a Harry Potter show.
This ain't.
This is a Gossip Girl show.
And I just lost my pen.
Oh.
So we're in 2007. Again, Britney shaved her head. Okay, I'm not gonna highlight just the good stuff. I'm gonna bring up all the stuff that we went through in pop culture.
This is madness.
Yeah. So Anna Nicole Smith passed away. Rest in peace. Also, The Sopranos ended, shocked everyone's mind, and Mad Men began. So that was like a shift for a lot of people who were watching HBO. Knocked Up, the movie, was released. We were still in this wonderful culture of having those cool comedy movies. Anchorman. Lance Armstrong and Ashley Olsen were rumored to be dating. Yeah, that's where we were.
This is madness.
Yes, again. And the Hills were there. They were in their heyday. This is more of a West Coast show. Shout out to Lauren Conrad, Christy Cavalier, Lo, Adriana. I mean, Patridge. You know, all the OGs. Heidi Pratt. Third season of that. And then The Office was in its fourth season. On Disney Channel, Wizard of Wizardly Place, shout out Selena Gomez, character Alex Russo, that just aired. And again, since there was no text culture, there was no social media, there was no Instagram, there was no, threads or whatever. So if you are watching this for the first time, that might be hard for you to wrap your head around. So Gossip Girl was a blog, and it was a blog that was anonymous, and it thrived off of gossip from people who had these handles. So it wasn't really that anonymous, Melanie 91. I mean, how many Melanies in your class who were born in 91, So a lot of people participated in it. There was photos on those like little tiny like flip phones. So huge deal, as we heard in the monologue by Kristen Bell. For the first time in a year, Selena. I'm a Selena fan, okay? Serena van der Woodsen, played by
XOXO Gossip Girl.
Played by who was it played by?
Blake Lively.
Yeah, who plays Blair Waldorf?
You lost me on that one.
Dang. Okay, can you name Dan Humphrey?
Dan Humphrey is the guy from You.
What's his name?
His name is escaping me.
So this is, all are welcome. And we're here to learn. Okay, Brenty, it's all right. We're here to learn. That's Lonely Boy. That's Penn Badgley.
We don't judge.
I mean, she says that with irony, okay? That's kind of like...
We don't judge.
She judges, though. We judge in this show. And we're going to judge their judging. So again, for this episode, we're at the end. This is a trigger warning for sexual assault, which we're going to talk about. That's ridiculous. We're watching a teenage show that we're supposed to idolize. And I need to give a trigger warning because there is straight up sexual assault. So I think I need to say essay. There is straight up essay on this. So let's get into it. You can watch it now. First scene, we see the iconic train. You know, we're done looking at New York. The train comes through, and leaning on the window, Serena van der Woodsen in her iconic, you know, striped shirt. She's got the tie. She's got the, looks pleather, but we know it's leather, you know, camel tone jacket. Let's see.
Was she blonde?
Yeah.
Tall? Stunning? In every man's fantasy?
Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, so you can see by my reaction, like, it's a fabulous outfit. It's iconic. And yet that's Blair speaking. And she's speaking because that's her best friend, but she just took off and didn't explain why she took off for over a year. Okay. So there's 2 reasons why she took off. This episode covers that. So she's back, and Blair's not loving that she found this out through a blast. So the first scene is that iconic outfit. We're getting into Grand Central Station, spotted. You know, we're hearing the monologue, and then, you know, Melanie 91, and then of course Lonely Boy looking like an absolute baby compared to, you know, what he looks like now as an actor. You know, super shaved head. He's meeting his dad with his sister, and he goes, and he sees Serena van der Woodsen, you know, his love. I mean, he like idolizes her, and he goes to the same boarding school as her, which is actually something I like to talk about because that's based on a real school that the author Cicely went to. It's in the book and the show, it's called Constance Billard, but it's based on Nightingale Bamford, and that's a real school. So, yeah. So we get this montage.
A boot camp for troubled girls.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the boot camp for troubled girls was more like the faculty, because those girls ran that school. And whoever was queen and whatever the title, which was from, you know, effortless, tall, beautiful, blonde, carefree Serena to, you know, a little bit shorter brunette, using her smarts but always feeling kind of less than, who felt she had to be competitive for the crown, to like a young, again, tall blonde, little J, who looks up to that and wants to fight that. So the throne and the idea of popularity and being an it girl, not only at school, but like socially, you know, it was wild. It was like, wow, they're not just popular. They're like about town. They're 17 and getting served. So the phones are going off. Okay. We get that first Gossip Girl beep, beep, beep. And everyone, you hear it go off. It's just like, that happens every episode, sometimes multiple episodes, and something's going to go down. And everyone's checking it out. And they're at Blair's house for a party. And she finds out, just as she found out that she left through Gossip Girl, that, again, her best friend's back. There's a lot of animosity there. And she also knows that Nate, her boyfriend that she's been with since like kindergarten or like whatever, middle school, likes Serena, is interested in Serena. So before we talk about the immediate move that Blair makes, let's just cover the fact that, you know, as a standalone episode, I think a lot of fans will say this is like a crazy situation, because a lot of things in this episode stand out and stand alone and then don't happen ever again. So, for example, when we first see Blair, her mom is played by Florencia Lorenzo and is replaced by an actress named Margaret Collin. And it's like the first thing we see of Blair is her in a beautiful kind of little black dress. She's got a bow, and she's being insulted by this first actor who played her mom and telling her, you know, oh, if you were going to wear one of my designs, you know, I wish we could have gotten it better fitted. Which, what does that mean? Okay. Tighter, I mean, looks too loose, just comments on the body already. And who's this bitch? Like, that's not her mom. Super rude, but the plot is her mom is a fashion designer. Okay. So she's like, oh my God, Serena's here. Like, I've been holding the V card for Nate, and I gotta lock this in because she's back and this could be trouble. And so, you know, we see her kind of go through the party looking for Nate. In the book and in this one episode, they really highlight the fact that Nate was a pothead. That was part of his character and part of the way he escaped his family's dysfunction. So in this one, they kind of make it look like it's Chuck. And so we see Chuck for the first time at the party when this text go off. And he's just like, it's perfectly and painfully 2007. It's horrific. It's a horrific outfit, and yet...
Because if looks could kill, we wouldn't want to be Dan Humphrey.
We wouldn't want to be Chuck Bass. But in a way, I respect the heck out of it because it is capsulating like the peak of what people thought was like badass, like popped collars. I'm pretty sure there's 2. There's blazers, there's stripes, there's neon, okay? There's a certain vibe. And he's like, yo, Nate, you want to... And he's surrounded by girls, so we get the vibe. He's a ladies' man. And so Nate's like, oh, like maybe in a little bit, because Blair's going, she's bringing him to the bedroom, and she's like, Nate, I'm ready. I want to do this. Da 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 da. And then like she's like mid kissing Nate, okay? And he looks at his phone and notices, oh wait, Serena's back, and he pops right up, and she's like, what? And well, don't you want to say hi? This is your friend, and she's just like. Like, yo, red flags, girl. And I'm so sorry. Like, we're young. She was like 17, 16 or whatever. Junior, senior, let's call it 17. She just had no idea. But that dude was lost in the sauce. All right. So Nate bails. He's got this kind of awkward 90s transitional Jonathan Taylor Thomas haircut, which he rocks the hell out of, but isn't really the Nate that we associate with the 2010s.
If you look on your screen here, you can kind of see there's a picture of Chuck Bass from the pilot there.
Yeah, can you get the one of him on the couch? Like, first appearance at Blair's party. Because, like, okay, like, what? And, okay, so the hair, I have a comment here, Chuck Bass with the Jim Halpert hair, surrounded by 2 sexy ladies, asked Nate if he wants to smoke. Yeah, this is why we have Brenty folks, because I'll just keep talking forever. And we need to pause for the moments because...
On the couch like this?
No. I know that scene. He's watching her as a... It might not be available, but it's the first appearance of him. And it's at Blair's party in the pilot. And he's sitting on a couch, and I swear there are 2 popped polo collars, neon and stripes. So, I don't know.
Like that?
No, that's actually a more grown-up look for him. That's actually a little bit more, like, toned down.
Okay, I'll keep looking.
Yeah, and I'll also, I could find this in post, pop it up. But thank you, because a big part of this is the outfits, because, sometimes shows, unless you're David Lynch, they can create such a time capsule. And I love David Lynch. He's a huge inspiration. I love how he creates worlds that live on forever. And I also love shows like The Office, like Girls, like Sex and the City, like Gossip Girl, that really encapsulate the technology, the fashion, the style, the decor of the time. Shout out to, am I gonna get a David Lynch? Let's just take a moment.
Yeah, I put it in for you. There he's back.
Rest in peace. Okay, while we're doing shout outs, I think it's really important for me to also bring up 2 people that personally inspire me. I think and know they personally inspire Brenty, and they're overall incredible people, incredible artists, and they've inspired me to just never give up on the dream of sharing and trying to get a conversation started on YouTube or a podcast. And that is H3 podcaster crew. Ethan and Ela, shout out. Teddy Frost. Can you do their theme song, Brent, into the mic? Like, do you know the theme song?
And
they just keep going, and they just keep creating, and you know, there's so many people to shout out, but we gotta stop there. I think we have to take a quick sponsor break. Again, brought to you by Tap Water. Don't drink this in your state unless it's safe. People in America don't even have access to safe, clean water everywhere. So, Britta, if you need to filter or whatnot. All right, so Blair got curbed, okay?
Where is she picking Serena? And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
Yeah, I mean, perfect. And that's it. And then we're like in the episode, you know? Like, tension is high, less than 5 minutes, and like she's already tried to lose her V card, been denied. Serena's back. We don't have answers. We see Chuck Bass is...
Unlike the rest of us, sex, lies, and scandal never take a vacation.
So for me, yes. Do you see how that quote, do it again?
Unlike the rest of us, sex, lies, and scandal never take a vacation.
Like, I thought I was listening to Samantha from Sex and the City. Like, it's such it's such a moment in time for our generation. You know, I was only able to relate to Sex and the City in my 30s. Girls, I was able to relate to immediately. Broad City immediately. This show was a fantasy for me. I related to it in the fact that I wanted to kind of just pretend to be in that world, even though it was full of, you know, drama and crazy stuff. It was a made-up world of cool outfits and permanent lip gloss and access to New York City. And as a New Englander with lots of family in New York, I could relate. It seemed attainable. No. Okay. So that is, you know, a big red flag. And so yeah, Serena comes to the party. She wasn't planning to come to the party. We're going to get one of our first most iconic quotes. If you have one, Brent, look for the quote that says from Serena, "I have to go," because it's coming up. She's looking for her mom at Blair's party because she's immediately wanting to see her younger brother. Where's Eric? You know, what happened to Eric? She knows what happened to Eric. She wants to see Eric, and she crashes this party. She's not really there to make super amends with anyone. She's just on her own path. Her mom is like, you know, awkward. She doesn't want people to know. She's like, oh, let me guess, you know, you told them that he was visiting the aunt and stuff. But she put him in a hospital, inpatient, because he...
In fact, I have to go.
Wait, where?
And I love you, but I have to go. Thank you. All right, I have to go. There you are. I have to go now. I'll call you later.
She says it a lot. I
No,
guess.
it's like, Brent, it's like a joke throughout the, you know, Brenty, it's like a joke throughout the whole thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so she finally gets it out of her mom, Serena, gets it out of Lily Vanderwooden, who we love like these days. We're like, oh, she's so chic and stuff, but like, let's check in with her now as like a mother back then. Like, that's pretty problematic. Not super helpful.
Spotted. A beautiful blonde phoenix rising from the ashes of a major public humiliation.
Ooh, not yet. Not yet.
Gotcha.
Because they don't know about the public humiliation yet, and that's going to be more on Blair. So, she says, I have to go. She finally got it out of her mom where her brother is. Hospital.
Now there's a novel plot twist.
Okay, so all of this is happening, right? All this is happening. Okay. She goes to see her brother Eric. They're in the hospital. He tried to end his life. And, you know, I'm touching my head. Okay. So the thing about Gossip Girl, I think in the earlier seasons, this is the first point where I noticed this, is that they did a really good job, maybe not executing like Degrassi, The Next Generation, but bringing up difficult topics. So things like self-harm, eating disorders, heartbreak, you know, SA, ending your own life, things like that. And then I felt like it completely just dropped that as a plot and did not acknowledge it anymore. And I didn't love that, because I think with such a powerful platform, when you're focusing on scandal and fashion and this and that, keeping it real and including those really tough issues, not some of the crazy ass bullshit that we learned that Serena did. It's like, dude, what? What did we learn from this? Nothing. That was crazy, Brent. You can way down.
They just stopped talking about like heavy subjects.
Yeah.
Later on.
So like, thank goodness they realized like Chuck Bass, a 15-year-old in the first episode, like not a good look. He had a huge redemption arc, but he's always kind of an asshole. Blair had a eating disorder, and it was clear that was because of her mother, who's a fashion designer. Serena had a problem with drugs and drinking. That stays throughout, but there's not a lot of productivity. Yeah. And then they just, you know, there's no one else who goes to like mental health treatment. There's no therapy. You know, Eric just is fine, I guess, and kind of just doesn't happen. So, like a lot of fans will say, this episode kind of lives in its own world. There's things that happen. Blair's mom, some of the outfits are just like, oh my goodness, that's not who I remember being Nate, because it's like JTT. We got that stripes with the, but after that, you know, yeah, we're talking about addicted parent, eating disorders, like we were talking about stuff, right? Then in this, after that, it cuts to like our first glimpse of the blog, the Gossip Girl blog. So as mentioned, in 2007, there was no text culture. There was no social media. So yeah, they did get these text blasts and maybe like a photo attached, but where you could always read, stay up to date, is the blog, gossipgirl.com. So they show that. And it's just, if you could get a picture of that up, Brenty, the Gossip Girl blog page on the show, it's very pink. It's very 2007, like, whoa, okay. And so we're seeing the page, okay? And then it's, yeah, that one, the pink one.
Okay.
It's just so ridiculously like, they upgrade this, but this is what they show us for the first like,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
This one. That. Yeah, it's like so like 2001 looking. I don't know. It's pretty bad. And they do upgrade it to like a cooler, like the more iconic black with the white lettering that you can read easily. But then they zoom out. Who's reading Gossip Girl on their laptop? It's Lonely Boy, Dan Humphrey in Brooklyn. So yeah, that's like
But
huge.
if that's the case, why is Nate fallen right off our radar and Serena is always cited solo? Wonder what she'd do if she knew Lonely Boy wasn't so lonely anymore.
Yeah. So he starts out hecka lonely, dude. Hecka lonely. And he stays up on this blog because he has got a crush on this it girl, Serena van der Woodsen, the blonde bombshell of his dreams from Constant whatever I said, school. And yeah. So it's interesting how these characters grow, because sometimes what you think you want and what you idolize. And once you get it or you become it, it doesn't always feel as glittery as it looks, if you know what I mean. So that's the first thing. And then after all of that, that was like 3 scenes. Then we get the first cut to the first ever opening credits. And like I talk about, that was that short music. Bump, dunk, 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 dunk.
Where is she been, Serena? And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
That was the whole thing. And then it was, Night Sky, the Gossip Girl, the P, the L, it was dripping. It was just so great. And it was cool. They had some intro. You saw name characters. They dropped that. The scene started. The show's in. And you're like, let's go. We got 43 minutes. So, sweetheart Serena, we wake up after the first credits and see that she's fallen asleep next to Eric at the hospital. And that's very sweet. She's giving her little brother, it's a pep talk. Let's shout out to Eric, who's got some phenomenal. Why don't you go to a picture of Eric and Serena first? Eric and Serena pilot. Because if there's somebody who's ever dyed their hair or done bleach work in their hair, they'll appreciate this. They're in the hospital. And, oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. So that page you were just on is the page I'm on, but,
Oh, gotcha.
it's for the pilot. And it's them. She's wearing a striped shirt, but he's just got these his hair is brown. Okay, folks. And it's like these sick ass patches of like, you see it?
Yeah, it's on you right here.
Okay. So blow it up if you want. What do you think? You'd rock that.
Sure. It's kind of like Aaron Carter coded a little bit.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Shout out Aaron Carter. Or
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
Wow. Gone too soon.
Yeah. I love that he lives in your heart like that.
I kind of looked like him when I was that age. So
that's why I had to bring it up. I knew you'd appreciate that.
yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think you were taking cues from Eric from Gossip Girl. It was just like they were just up on it. They
What
were
do you
just
think?
trendy.
If you see if we go back like 20 years, how I could look like Aaron Carter a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen pictures, but you had the shorter haircut with the spikes. All you had to do was kind of have it more grown out.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
Oh, I had the bleached hair and everything.
But grown out.
Yeah, totally. With the roots showing. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So
we'll have to find a picture of
for
that.
post, you're going to pop that up and it's going to be,
Yeah, if I can
it's going to
find
be
it.
here.
Okay. We'll
Switch
find it.
to me.
Yeah, we'll put it behind you. Yeah.
So this hits. It's not just female fashion. And back then, there was not a lot of awareness or support about more fluid fashion and fluid gender roles. But I think we might also see sneaks of, queer identity and things that we can identify as allies or people part of that community. But back then it was very, girls and guys, Gossip Girl. Okay, so like Lily shows up to the hospital and is like, Serena's like, let's go out to breakfast. Let's get waffles. Let's check them out. And Lily's like, I care too much about my public image. He's got to stay in the hospital. And you're dumb for thinking that. Go home and sleep and stop. You got to go to school. You got to go to school. You got to learn. Yeah. So Lily's like, we'll get him across the street and bring him back. It's like classic Lily. Again, we love her today. Chic, chic, chic. Style, grace, grace. But as a mom, she was problematic. Okay? She's problematic. She chose image. She chose guys. She chose wealth. And some of those things over being helpful, and owning, not hiding, and, her children's mishaps. And by mishaps, I mean response to trauma or a really intense way of growing up. Who knows? So they don't go to breakfast. Okay. So And then Serena's like, so what did you tell everybody? Grandpa in Rhode Island? And she was like, no, I told them that he's with your aunt, Caroline, in Miami. Next scene, Brooklyn loft. We're at the Humphreys having breakfast. Waffles, waffles, waffles. We get Jenny Humphrey, okay? Jenny Humphrey is iconic as a character and as a human being, actor, and rock star, and just individual human being. She was first on the show.
Serena Vanderwoodson, everybody's favorite it girl, has just returned from a mysterious absence.
Yeah, but we need a little J bump. We need a J bump.
It just said everybody's favorite, so I thought it would work. But
No, I love it. Everybody's favorite, but also favorite to like hate. Like, man, she had a journey, and like I said, taking the shoes off here, she wanted to get out of acting. It's like we're gonna get in and on the screen, behind the screen. So when she joined this, like she didn't really know that she had a choice to not do anything other than acting. Taylor Monson, okay, that's this wonderful person's name. She left the show to do what she's still doing now, and that is front and write songs for a band called The Pretty Reckless. They go pretty fucking hard.
she's a singer?
She's a singer. She plays guitar. She writes music. She's a musician. Really intense, cool style, but people have criticized it over the years. Health concerns, things like that. But Little J starts as pretty damn innocent, and she's Lonely Boy, Dan Humphrey's little sister. And they live in this, they're supposed to be like the poor, lesser people from this school who all live in the Upper East Side, have drivers, whatever. They live in this huge, like amazing loft in Brooklyn that's just ridiculous. So again, we're living in the fantasy. Like, who wouldn't want to hang out and have waffles with Rufus there? Rufus, their dad, iconic. He was in a popular band in the 90s. He kind of lived through that. He stopped touring, but he was written about in a magazine with his old band, the best bands of the 90s. And this is 2007, and Dan is trying to like convince him he's a has-been. So that's how fast our zeitgeist goes. So he's kind of a single dad situation because when they, we first see Dan and Little J at Grand Central Station seeing Serena, their dad is like, how was it with your mom? And like, is she going to come back? Or, so obviously inappropriate questions, some sort of separation happening between them. We don't know who their mom is. We haven't seen her yet. Live with dad, former rock star, once a rock star, always a rock star. And then Jenny's at breakfast, like licking and preparing all of these invitations for the dun, 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 kiss on the lips party. If you read the first book, that's how it ends. Kiss on the lips party. Brent, I'm going to tell you something that I love about this show.
Okay.
Every show has an effing party. It could be brunch. It could be theme. It could be school. It could be a parent. It could be a fundraiser. It could be a birthday. We are fucking partying. We are dressing up at some point, and some shit's going down at the party. Okay? Get your gloss, get your heels, get your shit, and let's go to the party.
All right, I'm there.
So this party ends with kiss on the lips, and that's a big one. And that's something that Blair is putting on. It's Blair's party. It's not happening at her house. It's happening in this cool warehouse that has like a bar. And so there's invitations. There's a guest list. There's no Facebook invite. Okay? So Jenny is at the table working on these invitations, and her dad is like, what are you doing, hon? Well, if I, make all of them, they saw, so-and-so saw my calligraphy and liked it. If I make all the invitations, I can get one because she's not popular enough to be invited, but she can like work her way to get one and be at the party. And she's 15 and like a freshman. And it's super cool for her to go. And then
toast.
Moment for the whatever.
Nope. Sorry, I got a pop-up here. Try that again.
What's a pop-up? What'd we pop up?
Oh, God. Move on. Technical issues.
Okay, so Dan is like making fun of little Jay for wanting to go to this party and fit in. And then she's like, yo, little older brother, you freaking stalk Serena Vanderwoodson on the blog Gossip Girl like every day. So like you're one to talk.
I have a party toast.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rufus is like, did your mom think this is a good idea? And little Jay's like, yeah. And then someone's like, did your mom always have good judgment? Ooh, rip to the mom. It's like, again, this is inappropriate to say in front of the kids who are adults while you're getting divorced. My thought. And then little Jay is like convincing her dad that it's cool to go to this party. She's like, you want me to go to this school? I don't fit in. I gotta socialize. Allow me to go to the party. I'm not this little girl anymore. And the dad, Rufus, is like, fine, go to the party. Okay, scene 5. Serena's walking up to the hotel. She lives in a hotel right now.
It's fine. Everyone can stop looking.
I just found a big soundboard with all season 1 stuff.
Oh, don't even. Please don't hold back. Let's just hit a couple for a second.
Okay.
Look, Dan, it was a long time ago, and I regret it.
There's like hundreds of little.
Yeah. Okay.
here.
So that one you just brought up.
I'm not trying to spoil anything.
No. But like, if you know, you know. If you don't, you will soon.
Well, I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, me too. And I was there.
Hi, I'm Chuck.
Hi, Serena.
That's little Jay. She's stoked on.
Hi, Serena.
She's stoked on Serena, and that's like when she walks up to them on the Met steps with her invitation.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
And like she walks up to Blair, and then Serena comes over and she's like, hi, Serena. But Blair's not happy to see her because like, what the fuck, bitch? You just left. You didn't say anything. Then you're back. You're not even considerate. I was going through shit with my dad. Where the fuck were you? We'll get to it. Okay. So approval from Rufus to go to the Kiss the Lips party. We see Serena in scene 5 walking up to her hotel because she lives in a hotel right now while her penthouse loft is being renovated again. So this sense of, now that I think of it, a sense of Serena not really having a home base, kind of always being like a drifter, like Rolling Stone, and just having wealth and, you know, just everything taken care of and bell service. And like, you know, she lives in a hotel and it's an actual hotel. It's called the Palace Hotel. And guess who's out front waiting for her? You want to guess?
Hi, I'm Chuck.
No.
Not
But
Chuck.
we know 3 men now. Well, 4. We know Eric, who's in the hospital. We know Nate. We know Chuck. And we know Dan Humphrey. So it wasn't Dan Humphrey waiting outside her hotel.
Yep.
Who do you think it was?
It was Nate Archibald
Because
he likes her.
but he's dating.
Blair?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm on it.
Yeah. So that's complicated.
Can't wait.
I get so excited to hear those.
Nate Archibald.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, because even the clip of music, I can hear it, and we'll run through it.
Nate, you told Blair. What were you thinking?
That's a spoiler. So things are gonna get real. Okay, we got some scenes to get through. So here we go. Nate's waiting for her. You called it, and she lives outside, and she's like, "Oh, Nate, what are you doing here?" Tries to quickly exit, and Nate is like, "But you're back now.
Nate, can I borrow you?
Things could be different." And she's like, "I didn't come back for you, Nate." And that's her setting some boundaries, you know? She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to, spoiler alert, I'm going to sleep with you, even though you're dating my best friend."
Finally about to have sex with your girl.
Yeah. So Blair, virgin, dating Nate. Nate, while dating Blair, had intercourse with Serena. Serena took off because of that. Something else.
My daughter's a woman.
Yeah, this is unrelated, but this is fun. Has Rufus. That's Rufus talking about Ginny Humphrey getting ready for the dance. Okay.
Oh man, you know.
I know.
right
So
away.
like, do 2 clips, just one, and then I'll tell you the scene, and do another, and then I'll continue because
All
I
right.
know so deeply.
All right, here we go.
Meet me in Chuck's suite.
You don't got that one?
No, wait.
Meet me in Chuck's suite.
I think it's
We'll get
Nate
there.
trying to talk to Serena. Oh man, you got me.
How about this one?
Look, I really don't appreciate your lurking in the shadows.
Shadows was the last word there.
Say that again.
Look, I really don't appreciate your lurking in the shadows.
Whose voice is that?
I don't.
Is that Lily?
I don't know.
Okay. This is all
Lily.
from the pilot?
Lily.
Rufus saying Lily. Okay. So, like, yeah, Nate was waiting. We're back, folks. Welcome. You're listening to Gossip Girl XOXO.
Nice try, son.
One more time.
Nice try, son.
Yeah. So that's a good one. I also think that's from when they're hanging up posters together, Rufus and Dan. Okay. So Nate's like still dating Blair, waiting for Serena. Is like, I'm back, bitch. She's like, bitch, I didn't come back for you, but things could be different. I'm here, like, you know? It's like Nate obviously is just lost in the sauce for her. But does she have genuine feelings for Nate? Or was that because she felt bad and wanted to, like, it was just like a drunken hookup?
Just thought you were hot.
Yeah. So I think that for exactly like this whole show, I don't think we can say that she genuinely ever really romantically likes Nate and Archibald or even really treated him with the respect.
Just thought you were hot.
Yeah. I think at that moment she was drunk. She likes attention. She likes to be in control. And she also has, I think, as a character, self-detrimental behavior, so like hurting your friends and being bad to your body because she's hurting inside from things happening around her world that she can't control. Doesn't make it okay though, right? Snaps. So she's like, Nate, I'm not about it. Like, I'm more focused on my brother Eric. Scene 6, Dan is running late for the bus. This is the most fucked up part of this show. Okay?
My name is Dan Humphrey.
Yeah, well, it's not the most fucked up because that would be the essay. But it's like the curveball. Like, what show are we watching? Dan gets on the bus, you know, the metro or the above ground bus. And Nate and Chuck are on the bus. They got their scarf, sweater stripes and like their emo hair and like their backpacks and their ties. And they're on the bus. And then it's like, never again are we going to show them like on the bus because they're rich enough to have drivers. And it was just such like a lapse in production judgment. Let's see. Yeah. So what is that Eric? And the Nate's not that short.
I don't know who the other guy is. Oh, we just lost our feed here.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
And we're back. Thank you. Thank you for enjoying that.
My name is Dan Humphrey.
Thank you. My name is Alexandra, Brenty, Jack, and below me is a wonderful dog named Big Mac. Okay, we're going to keep cruising. Jack Cam, check in. Jack Cam, check in. Meow. Okay, Jack seems good. Jackie B. We're going to keep cruising. We got some ground to cover. There's been a lot of excitement. There's been a lot of sound bites. There's been a lot of pen dropping. It's just been a lot of fun. But like I said, we see them on a bus for the first and only time ever. Why are these rich kids on a bus? They're hassling Dan because they noticed at the bus stop, and then they're on the bus together and they're like, what are you, following us? You stalking us? And Dan is all sassy and quippy and is like, I go to the same school. Was the uniform with tip off? Same uniform? Huh? Okay, next scene, iconic. Minions surrounding Blair right where I am at on the Met steps. Preschool breakfast. They're doing their yogurts. They're chit-chatting. Blair's outfit is iconic.
Blair, you will never be more beautiful or thin or happy.
Toxic. Yeah. Is that the full clip?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blair, you'll never be more thin or skinny and happy. I think that sounded like the mom from that was only in the pilot. Not the
Blair!
Oh, Blair. So Blair and her minions, Met Steps. They're eating like low-fat yogurt because this is the early aughts and diet culture is really toxic. S walks up. 2 minions, Chanel-looking outfits and jackets with headbands, no neckties, but just a little bit more over the top and not as cool or chic as Blair. She's always the queen bee. My outfit is trying to channel hers, yet she's got a little bit of the white with the yellow. And S walks up and B is just like roasting her, S introduces herself to little J. And little J comes up and, oh, I got the, invites and here they're all ready. And Serena's like, oh, you're having a party? Yeah. Blair's like, yeah, but too bad you're not invited. Clocked it. That's the assertion that I wish I could bring into the world more. However, she brings it in an unfair way and to like...
You're kind of not invited.
You're kind of not invited. That's exactly it.
You're kind of not invited.
Yeah, and it's an iconic first quote. It's an iconic first power move. Again, it's hard for me to relate to that part of Blair because, it's malicious, but I also like that energy to take into standing up for myself if somebody is like party crashing and not invited. So let's just talk about her outfit for a second. It's iconic. It's a blue cardigan, ruffle, white shirt. Oh, okay.
Whose outfit? Blair?
Yeah, on the steps. Or like her first outfit. It's like white tights. She's on the steps. White headband. Yellow gold headband that pops on her hair. Cute navy cravat with embellished white tights and ballet flats.
There we go. We got it.
I mean, queen, that cravat, like the little necktie and the ballet flats. We broke our feet. We broke our souls for ballet flats. And I think we're doing it again. I think 2010s are back. I own ballet flats. I'm going to break my souls on ballet flats whenever I want. But that was big. That was chic. And with the colored tights, yeah, iconic. She's wearing white. I'm wearing red, but she rocks all those colors. Serena's outfit, equally iconic. We got that metallic coat with bell sleeves. This is the difference, right? We've got that more polished Blair look. There is a lot of fun personality and texture and color and layering happening. There are notes of 2010s. There are notes of actual preppiness, schoolgirl. Not whatever the kids are calling preppy these days. And Serena is the contrast. She's got the metallic coat with bell sleeves, black tights, red over the knee socks, knee-high black leather boots. Wow, did we have a chokehold. Like knee-high boots, just stop your experience in the comments. Like, I can't even tell you. And was I wearing real leather ones? No. Leather ones from Charlotte Russe, Wet Seal, ripping, treading my way. I didn't have much leg to give them, but I was giving it my all. So she's wearing those leather boots, classic shape. And unlike Blair, her collar is unbuttoned. The necktie is plaid and loose. And she's got like a slouchy red bag, that big popular bag. So again, it's a note to kind of her more carefree, less polished look. Yet she's chic as heck. She's giving, I think the inspiration was like Kate Moss kind of vibes and like effortlessly chic. Mary-Kate and Ashley, Sienna Miller. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so she swings around Blair and, storms off and whatever. She's like, I'm not invited. I don't care. You're staying at school. But then they plan and she's like, can I talk to you? And she invites, Blair to meet tonight. And like, I'd love to, but I'm doing something with Nate. It's just so, Serena's trying to meet.
Think we can meet tonight?
Yeah. Because she says it, play that again.
Think we can meet tonight?
There's a certain tone, and if you know Serena, you know the tone. There's a certain tone in that where she's being nice, but in a pushy way because she knows Blair wants to hold a grudge. Blair doesn't want to talk about it and will be conflict avoidant. Me. And then
Blair, please don't do this.
Yeah, please don't. But it's like, Serena, you made your bed. If you know. So she's like, let's meet tonight. I want to like squash this beef. I want to nip it in the bud. And she's like, I can't. I have something with Nate tonight. And like S is all sassy and she's like, I'm not acknowledging that comment. And she goes, the palace, 8:00. Nate will wait. Ooh, checkmate. Okay. Queen boss, queen boss, king boss, queen boss. Bossin and queen.
Lock it down with Nate, B. Clock's ticking.
Yeah. So that's what she was trying to do earlier. So she's like, okay, like palace, 8:00, Nate will wait. And then cue, some Gossip Girl narration. And then we're going.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's all.
So scene 8, we got Rufus about town with flyers, stapling them on telephone poles. And they're flyers for his 90s band, Lincoln Hawk. Rated like Rolling Stones, one of the best lost bands of the 90s. And this one really hit me. Question to the fans out there. I'm sure it's a quick internet search away, but like, is Rufus a real famous musician from the 90s? Maybe Brenty can look that up. But he, I think he's singing and playing. But he's putting up these posters and stuff. And it was just like a huge tech shout out. Dan is like, Dad, haven't you ever heard about MySpace? Save some trees. MySpace, like a time capsule moment, And then Dan's phone goes off and he gets an SOS from little Jay, his sister. And he's like, oh, I got to go. I'm going to go help my sister. And the way these people just jump around New York City will infuriate New Yorkers like Sex in the City. They're just like, I'm here. I'm there. What do we got?
We got no. Rufus Humphrey from Gossip Girl was not a real famous musician from the 90s. Character was a fictional rock musician who fronted the one-hit wonder band Lincoln Hawk. Actor who played him, Matthew Settle, did not perform the music featured in the show. He's a fraud, not a real musician.
That's what you said?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Brandy, comment. Boom,
Not
boom,
real.
boom. Clocked. Wow. They did a good job
There you
faking
go.
that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's also our R&D department, which is equally important. And also, I'm going to have my fellow Gossip Girl folks keep
Wearing
me
a lot
honest.
of hats over here, so bear with me.
And you look good in them.
Thank you. I love hats.
Yeah, he looks really good in hats. And maybe next time you'll see him. I don't know with the headphones, but.
I'll wear a hat next time. Yeah.
Okay, so we get that SOS text on his BlackBerry, and he's like, oh my God, my little sister needs me. It turns out she's at I think she's at Barney's or Bendel's or Barney's, some iconic store that's no longer open where really rich people shop. And the emergency was like, which dress do I pick? And Dan is like, oh my gosh, this is not an emergency. She's like, but for the dance, and I'm just gonna wear it, or like I'm gonna make something like it and return it. Preview to little Jay's fashion career, and Dan says he has to run, and not sure why he doesn't mention that it's for little Jay. I'm not sure what these notes mean. Okay. Rufus inappropriately references failing marriage again. Oh, there was a weird joke. Dan says he has to run. Not sure why he doesn't mention it's for Jay. And then Rufus is like, oh, I don't know. There's just more weird, inappropriate, like divorce boundary jokes happening between Rufus and Dan as he leaves posting messages and posters, throws out the MySpace and goes to help little Jay.
Dan, wait.
Upon dress shopping, Serena, she's also there. Boom. She had to go and now she's here. She's at the store. And Jenny's like, Serena! Dan gets so embarrassed and he's not ready to see her or interact with his crush, and he hides behind the dresses. And she's wearing this dress, possibly yellow, possibly red. And, oh, I'm here with my brother. And then there's nobody. And she's like, okay, well, see you at the party, because she's obviously going to crash it. Or maybe she doesn't say that. But she walks away and then she turns around. She looks at little Jay and she goes, that dress would look really good in black. You know, no wink, but obviously that's cool. Like, the Queen S is like giving little Jay like fashion advice, and like, you think that little Jay is going to wear that in any other color than black? The answer is no. Okay. So, Serena storms next scene. Serena's storming into Eric's hospital room to kidnap him for some fun at Bendel's. So that's where they went. They went to Bendel's. Did I say Bendel's as one of them? I think I did. So that's...
What is Bendel's?
Bendel's is a very expensive and may no longer exist, like, luxury high-end department store.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. So there's an emergency, and it's a fashion emergency, and, you know, again, unreasonable traffic, New York travel time. He's just all of a sudden in Brooklyn and then like at Bendel's within a moment. And he's like, I can't face her. Dan's fit is classic early aughts lonely boy, giving lonely boy look. It's slightly alternative, but in a safe way. It's like a hoodie layered with a green army jacket, pockets layered with big navy hood, sweatshirt, a very hot look at the time to like put a hoodie and then a jacket over it. I think it's a classic timeless look. A plaid button up with a heathered gray tee poking through. Dan is nice. Says she looks good in the dress to little Jay. Some sibling love. Boom. Little Jay's hair is so beautiful. Let's shout that out. She's got like this long, beautiful, gorgeous, silky hair in this moment at the store. And she's looking very smooth, blah, blah, blah. Eric is rocking a scene fit while they're at Bendel's, okay? White studded belt to the side. Okay? Clock that. I used to wear that to the side as well. That's an important, and again, just how they get it so right and not only capture what was happening at the time, but then also set the trends. You know? They set the trends as well. So, before Serena leaves the store, little Jay is like, hang on, Serena, I got something for you. And she hands her an invitation to the Kiss on the Lips Blair party. She's like, just don't tell him it's from me. You know, there was an extra. So Serena's got the in. Obviously, she was going to crash it anyways. So next scene is Chuck and Nate in Central Park. We're broing out. Okay? We've done a lot of other character development. Now we're seeing Chuck and Nate, who are close friends. And Chuck is blazing a joint. His outfit involves two types of plaid, his scarf and coat. Nate's fit is more subdued, but solid, you know, big navy coat. And they're discussing Nate's plan to sleep with Blair. So this is that you popped it up earlier, like about sleeping with your girlfriend for the first time. And it sounds like you're not happy.
Yeah.
And Chuck calls him out for not being down about it, and for being down about it and not being excited. And Chuck offers him Viagra. Yeah. or Paxil.
It's Viagra. I had the clip here a second ago. It'll take a second to find it though.
Viagra or Paxil, dude. It's like, what? Those are two opposite. Yeah, we don't need to get into that, but that's kind of crazy.
Here we go.
Yeah? Well, then maybe I should swipe some of my dad's Viagra.
There you
I
go.
mean, come on. So he's like, dude, what's your problem? Like, she's hot. She wants to share this with you. Go for it. And then Nate starts reflecting about how their lives are planned out. And Chuck says, we have trust fund. Happiness doesn't seem to be on the menu for us. We have to like follow this prescribed plan of what our successful parents think is deemable for our life. And so that's a quote that sticks with me. Happiness doesn't seem to be on the menu. That's a mindset that speaks to Chuck as he struggles with mental health and behavior throughout this series. So then he passes the duchy to the left-hand side and gives it to Nate. Next scene is the meetup that they planned that Serena was like, 8 o'clock, Nate can wait. And it's at the Palace Hotel, but it's a bar called Guilt. And it's actually located in the Palace Hotel. Guilt as in guilted, so Gilt. And the song in the background is Amy Winehouse, Back in Black. Okay?
8.
The black outfit is being worn by Blair, and the white outfit is being worn by Serena. I think this is symbolic. The yin, the yang, the darkness, the light, the whatever. There's
Serena.
No.
They have, like, they're 17 years old, meeting up at a bar in these cocktail dresses. She lives upstairs. And then, like, they're getting served martinis at 17. Okay. And I will tell you.
Serena.
Yeah, Serena. Just Serena and Blair. And I tell you, as somebody who has experienced, like, at 14, like, a party where, like, money was going down, like, they were serving me alcohol, no questions asked, like wine. Like, what? Yeah, that happens. And so that kind of...
This is Brooklynville, not the Warp Tour.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not the Warp Tour, and it's definitely not Brooklyn. So things are a little bit different there. Okay? So they have their meetup, right? And Blair finally confesses, like, dude, my parents' divorce was really hard. My father is gay, and he moved to France and doesn't live here to be with, I think, a photographer or a model. And you weren't here for me, and you just left without saying anything. And it's like, yes, Queen Blair, speak your mind, tell her what the problem is and how it hurt you. And like Serena acknowledges that, I'm sorry. And Blair's resentful that she didn't know why she was going to boarding school. And, her best friend's supposed to be here for that. And then Serena acknowledges that Blair is like the new queen bee and that she's not trying to come for that. I don't really hear Serena like taking accountability or apologizing. I'm not really seeing that in my notes. So let me just double check.
This isn't over.
No, she's not. Drop in the comments. I'm not seeing accountability or apologies, but basically, she's not being open, and she's like not telling her the reason about why she left for boarding school. And it's because, spoiler alert, she slept with fucking Nate while she was drunk at some wedding or some event. And that's horrific. She did that to her best friend. That's shitty. So that's why she doesn't really want to tell her. And also maybe it involves Eric. Not sure. But please trust me, Blair. And then Blair's not having it.
Secret I'll never tell.
I miss nights at your mom's country house. B's not having it. And S makes one more plea. And B finally warms up. Water under the bridge. Back to besties. We're back at the Brooklyn Loft. It's the night of Kiss on the Lips party. Little J is going. She's sewing her dress.
The Kiss on the Lips party is around the corner.
Yeah. It's tonight, baby. And like I said, at Bendel's, little Jay's making her dress, so she's sewing it, and it's black because Serena said
Pretty
so.
classy ass.
Ooh, yeah, it's gonna get weird a little bit. It's gonna be bad for little ass. Little J. Okay, so She's so in her dress. She's calling Dan out for hiding and encourages him to pursue S. Like, just nice sibling love. Like, you should give it a shot. She's nice. She's really cool. You should just talk to her. It's not that big of a deal. And, this is the sweet, pure version, season 1, little J. Okay? Enjoy her while she lasts. She don't last. Jay's dad, Humphrey, left for dinner. What do you want? Indian food. Dan heads out somewhere. Jay knew and only ordered for herself because she knew that Dan was going to go out and just ate the food herself. So again, another really cute sibling moment. Chuck, ba-ba-ba. Okay. We're back to after that little blip of them getting ready. Dan heading out. Little Jay having her Indian food, sewing her dress. We go back to the bar at the palace. And Blair has left, but Chuck pops up. Maniacal Chuck being a dick. He pops up an S to give her a hard time. And it's revealed that his parents just bought the hotel and that she's like living in. And he's like, I wouldn't want them to be, caught for selling alcohol to minors. Whatever. She's just trying to, say you can't blackmail me. And S needs food. She's drinking on an empty stomach. Chuck sees that and is like taking advantage of her. So he's like, look, girl, let's just go. We'll go to, the kitchen of the hotel and we'll get something to eat. Offers a grilled cheese with some truffle oil, which isn't even on the menu. Drunk Serena likes that. And then we cut okay, Serena's just going to drunkenly follow off Chuck to the kitchen for grilled cheese. Then we cut to the whole Blair trying to lose her V card to Nate. Okay? Candlelit room. Blair's waiting in a baby doll lingerie. Nate looks so uncomfortable. It's sad. It's so cringe it seems to be so cringy for him to be with B. And it just hurts. It I think is something that a lot of women can relate to, sadly, but it's hard to see when you're in it. But it's how could you even, if that's not going to be enough of a distraction, the soul connection is not there. She's trying to make it happen. B tries to kiss Nate. Nate doesn't want it. ... We're back to the kitchen. Chuck is giving, got the chef to make a grilled cheese. She's laughing. And Chuck touches Serena's thigh. Trigger warning. No! Yeah. And it escalates to that because this is our first SA trigger warning where, he's just a horn dog and he's putting his leg. He's known.
Chuck, get off of her!
Well, that's the second part of the episode where he does SA and is a horn dog. Again, this is the pilot episode. This is normal, okay, glamorized behavior from men that we're supposed to find attractive. It's a no for me dog. It's a yikes for me dog. 18 years in the future dog. Okay. So yeah, Nate don't want it. Cut back to kitchen. Chuck is king, got the grilled cheese, touching her leg. And she's loud. Don't touch me. And then Nate was but Chuck is I know you slept with Nate last summer. I'm going to blackmail you. He knows that she fucked her best friend's boyfriend last summer. Uh-oh. Let's just take a moment. Chuck's outfit has a yellow polo with the collar popped under a lavender button-up. And yeah. Okay, and then there's a flashback. So Chuck reveals that he knows, and then we flash back and we see them in the whole thing. She's popping a bottle, dancing around an empty church in this silky little pink dress, really being a pick-me girl, drinking out of the bottle, falling around, offering it to Nate. She's barefoot, legs around, and Nate's grabbing her. Cuts to Nate telling B, you just kissed? Because he's telling her, look, I can't go through with making love because I hooked up with Blair. I mean, Serena. And Blair's like, did you just kiss? Cuts back to the sexy montage, and you can tell it's more than a kiss. And then you see that Chuck is in the back of the church looking at them. Cut back to the kitchen scene. Stop it! Yeah. It's a lot. It's cut back. We're learning a lot of truths right now that are really hard to swallow, okay? Cut back to the kitchen. Serena and Chuck, she's very physical and has to like push him off. That clip where she's like, Chuck, stop. Ah. Like, it's horrific. And consent is not given. She like kicks him. Just holding a moment of space for the fact that this was normalized on TV for us as teenagers. Yeah, you know, he's really into you, but like if you don't want to, you know, get SA, just like kick him really hard. What if we're not as tall as Serena? Okay, come on. Wow. So, whatever. Dan is scoping out the Palace bar. S comes back from the kitchen, is all drunk, and smacks into Dan. Purse falls. Dan is like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. She just storms off. But she dropped her cell phone, and Dan finds it. And it's like finding Cinderella's glass slipper. Uh-oh. Your cell phone, ma'am. So what am I going to do? I've got her cell phone. Okay. Then we cut to the next scene. It's Central Park. It's classic. It's Nate running with his dad, who's very competitive. His dad's a schmuck. He's in finance. And he's got Nate's life planned out. Okay. That's right. So he's like trying to talk to his dad about how things aren't really working out with Blair. And yeah, he's upset. And he's like, yeah, I want to break up with her. Like, I want to part ways. And his dad's like, you can't do that because that's not going to happen because Blair's mother and I have been working on a business deal and you wouldn't want to ruin that, would you? You guys have been together forever. And it's mostly about him serving himself because he's a piece of shit to secure a business deal with Eleanor Waldorf, which, by the way, is a reference to the Waldorf family and Waldorf Astoria. So it's meant to evoke, you know, sense of wealth. Same with Serena Vanderwoods, and it's supposed to be like Vanderbilt, evoke sense of wealth. So his dad's not having it. He's like, you know, she's great. You've been dating forever, but it boils down, you know, to secure a business deal. But it's like, he's like, just controlling father bullshit. So Dan goes back to the hotel the next day after we see them running to return the Cinderella slipper, aka Serena's cell phone. And the concierge is like treating him like shit because he's in like a sweatshirt, or they're profiling him demographically and they're being rude. And then Serena happens to walk in and it's like, you know, do you know this guy? And she's like, oh yeah, you know, vouches and says like, oh, he's a nice guy and blah, 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 blah. She vouches for him. In this scene, we see that he's kind of got like a little bit more of an effort on his outfit. He's a little bit more preppy. He's trying to like, you know, he's just maybe putting on a little bit more of a proper look for Serena in case they happen to meet, which they did. It's tan canvas coat, kind of a Harry Potter looking scarf, and a RIP, like a zip hoodie all the way up and a button down and tee. So again, he's kind of got this lonely boy look going. Shout out to all of the outfits that these people wear.
Dan?
Mm-hmm. Things get crazy. So Lily's like, Lily, the mom, she's walking in the hotel. She sees that Dan Humphrey's there, okay? She knows who Dan Humphrey is. Because, spoiler alert, she fucked Dan's dad in the 70s, 90s, 80s, whatever. They toured together, but they had a relationship.
Dan.
Yeah, big deal. Super vulgar, you know, the way I'm saying it, but we're just having fun here. And if you've watched the show, you know. And we find that out in just a few moments. So, Lily walks into the hotel lobby and has this dress for Serena. And Serena's like, I'm not going to the kiss on the lips, Mom. And she's like, oh, well, whenever. I'll keep the dress for me. And she like really wants to live through her daughter and like go out and all this. And it's like the fact that she's like, fine, I'll just wear the dress then. I'll keep it for me. So what is the plan? She's like, I have plans, Mom. I can't go out. Plans are, I'm going out with Lonely Boy. And then Dan is just like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm going out with him. And
Dan scored a date with Serena.
Yeah. So Dan scored a date with Serena. And, you know, Dan introduces himself, like, as if, because he doesn't know his dad knows Lily. And then is like, yeah, we're going to, like, my dad's concert tonight, because that's what he was going to do. And, yeah, it's just in Brooklyn. He's playing, like, a concert. And so Dan turns to leave, and Serena, after the mom goes, Dan kind of assumed that that was kind of just a cover story. But Serena turns to him and goes, so, see you at 8? And it's like, they're really going to go to the concert. They're really going to go to the date. Like, yeah. So, very cool. They don't plan to go to kiss on the lips. Yeah. That's really cool. And then I think Dan says something very iconic. He goes, are you really just going to go on a date with some guy you don't know? And then she quips, well, you can't be worse than any of the guys I already do know. Right? Okay. So, Cold War Kids, Hang Me Out to Dry, starts coming in. Hang me out to dry. You've rung me out too many times. Blair and Nate are at an Asian restaurant. It's blaring in the background, you know, and Blair's pissed. She's pissed. She's fucking pissed. And Nate is following Daddy's orders and trying to fix things with Blair, make a solution. He's never going to talk to Serena. So poor Nate Archibald is trying to do the right thing, but he's not following his heart. And
Blair, please don't do this.
Yeah, I mean, but she wants it. And she's willing for the image or the idea that she's unable to accept that this is not just a one-time blip, that it's emotional, that it's deep, that he's, you know, very physically attracted to her. But she's like, B is all in. She snaps back and is fine. And she's like trying to keep her narrative and storyline of her and Nate alive. It's a little bit Delulu. And this time it was not the Salulu. But that's how we get on at 17, right? All right, coming in. We're at Rufus's art studio. Yes, he owns an art studio, an art gallery in Brooklyn. Who pops in but Lily Vanderwoodson? And she's like, why are you and what's your son doing dating my daughter? Okay? What do you think of that, Brenty? Like, Serena. Okay. Imagine our parents, like your mom and my dad had a relationship back in the day and we were dating. That's the scenario.
That would be weird. I would want my parent to be happy, but it's getting in the way of my personal life. So yeah, especially as a high school age teenager, I would not be happy about it.
And they don't know about it. They don't know about it until way later. So they don't have any idea.
Sneaky.
But so it's the parents that know. They don't know. The
That's
parents
even worse.
Yeah. So the kid, Dan and Serena, have no idea that their parents know each other.
Right.
Let alone. Okay. So,
we should take a break again because this camera's overheating.
Okay. And we're back. And we're still in Rufus's art gallery, where Lily reveals that they've had a past relationship, that she used to be a photographer that went on tour. She name drops that she slept with Trent Reznor. Yeah, let's talk about that. There's kind of a flirty vibe. Rufus' outfit, he's got like a leather neck cord. Again, Trent Reznor mentioned, cool, Lily. Lily disses him and then hits her back with like, I don't make money off of settlements from divorces. Da, 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 da. She's like, at least I don't have a crappy art gallery. It's hot. It's cold. It's spicy. It's not. It's hurtful. It's flirty. I'm not really sure. Very telling about the nature of their relationship because it kind of mirrors Dan and Serena. We'll hear me out on that later in this series, okay? All right, next scene. Humphrey, Sibs are getting ready for their big night. Little Jay is in the mirror getting ready for a kiss on the lips. Dan's getting ready to go see that concert of his dad with Serena, Lincoln Hawk, okay? She's got that, Dan's layering again. He's got a black tee, a striped button-up, little flavor, and a heathered gray vest. Really, really cool. I love a good vest moment, whether it be button-up or sweater.
Who doesn't?
Thank you. I used to wear sweater vests a lot in this era, like in college. Yes. So for context, I graduated in 2006 from high school. They graduated in 2007. Brenty.
When did I graduate?
High school, yeah.
2010.
Okay. So did anyone talk about this?
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Even on the West Coast.
Yeah, it was huge. All the girlies were watching it.
So you were aware of it?
Definitely.
Okay. I love that. I didn't know if it was like a West, East Coast or whatever, but I love that. I love that. Because we be dreaming on like the hills and the OC and all that.
Yeah, that was big too.
But it's like, that's California. It was a little bit closer to your culture than like, Christmas snow in New York. But yeah, so there's a relationship between past relationship and now their kids are going to the same boarding school. And she's like, why is my daughter going out with your son? And Rufus was like, oh, he got a date with Serena? Nice. Good for him. Typical dad. They're getting ready for the night. Rufus comes home and says, oh my God, Jay, my daughter's become a woman. Awkward, but yeah. Okay, thanks, Dad. You look like your mother. Kind of a surprised tone that he said that in. Analyze as you will. Then we see, again, the pilot. We see the fake Blair's mother, who's not the mother for the rest of the episode. She comes in as Blair's getting ready, looking gorgeous in the dress she picked out, and immediately she criticizes it. And gives her this...
Classy ass.
Yeah, she's like, no. What'd she say?
That dress would look even better in black.
That's the advice Serena gave to little Jay, who took that and ran. She sewed her own dress, looked gorge. But this criticizing moment, I think it's, you would look better in this time. And Blair takes that choice. She puts the dress on, she changes. So that shows you how much that character, Eleanor, her mom, as a lead fashion designer, like, has on her. And that could be very
biggest I've ever heard.
Yeah. It's difficult. Like the pressure, this is the second time we've seen her and her mother, and all it is criticism. The second time about her outfit and how her body is and da 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 da. Yeah. So on the way to the party, Blair, Nate, Chuck, they're friends. So all the minions who wear like extra outfits and aren't as cool, but kind of like trying to copy the trend. They're in the back of the limo. They're drinking. They're smoking. And then we cut to the montage of Dan, arriving at the Palace Hotel for his date with Serena. And
Bodice.
Like, oh my God, look at her as she walks over the balcony. And everyone arrives at the Kiss on the Lips. It's like this rented out, posh warehouse club looking thing with like a bar. And
the Kiss on the Lips party is around the corner.
Yeah, like around the corner is in right freaking now. And we're there, and it's for like teenagers, but it looks like this cool club. All the people are there, right? And there's different like levels, and there's music. Yeah. Oh, pause. That scene where we're talking about the criticism that Blair's mom, Eleanor, gave her on the dress, that's when she says like one of the most toxic things ever. And again, this is a glimpse of how the series goes away from conversations like this and gets more into fantastical drama than kind of dealing with issues that people really do here. So she said, this dress is not as elegant. This one is more elegant, and you'll never be more beautiful or thin or happy as you are now. And I just want you to make the most of it. You hear that? That's my furnace. They just went off because it's like full rage. Like that's the culture we grew up with. Like that was what we heard on TV. Mothers, like whatever. Like, ugh, no. Okay, we're back. Limo montage.
Blair, you will never be more beautiful or thin or happy.
Toxic! Has your parent ever said that to you as a young boy?
Probably some sort of version of it.
Really?
Yeah, just like enjoy your youth. A lot of parents seem to be very aware that their best social years are behind them, and then they say stuff like that not knowing that it could be I don't know, hurtful or toxic.
Well, did they say something about your body in relation to your best time? Because it's different. This was tied to her being thin and beautiful, equating to the best time of her life.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens a lot more with women, but it happens to guys too, for sure.
Like, you're not in shape enough, or you need to be stronger, whatever Nate's getting told by his toxic dad.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Brenty. So in the limo,
Beautiful.
this party, this whole going to the party and the kiss on the lips, that's a huge climax for the end of the first book. So it's like, in my world of what I knew to Gossip Girl, they covered like 1,000,000 miles in the first episode. So it was like, where are we going to go from here? Tune in next time to see, because they go places. So It's So Hard to Live in the City starts to play as they show up. And in the, limo shot, let's just recall that Blair is seated right between Nate and Chuck. A little foreshadowing, if you will. Then we cut to Dan and Serena, and they come for the date. Dan's got his tan canvas coat on, his Harry Potter scarf. And then Serena is in like a sequin gold mini swing dress. Snaps for that with black tights. Yeah. And they're off. They're off to the venue in Brooklyn. And then we cut to the arrive at the dance. Hard switch with Timberland. I ain't got no money. I can take you on no date. And we're in it. Jenny is there. Little J is in her black dress. She's looking super excited. Okay. And then we pan to Chuck, looking super devious, noticing the newbie, eyes on little J like a shark predator that he is. What do we got going on?
This is the kiss on the lips party. Is this the kiss on the lips party?
No. She'd be wearing a black dress. That blue is, something in the blue area. Yep. Nate, look, okay, click on the one with Blair right there. Look at her hair poof, folks. Oh, this one. Hair poof. She's got the poof. We don't see a lot of her doing poof. She's got the bump it poof, okay? It looks cool. Nate's still doing JTT.
Yeah. The bump it was a weird time.
But it's an elegant, chic, low bump. It's probably not even a bump it. It's probably just good hair styling. But that was a kind of a unique hairstyle for Blair. And there's no headband. So we're there. She's trying to pretend that things are okay with Nate. Okay. Yeah. And he's asking, he's talking to friends. Chuck sees little Jay and he's like, I love freshmen. Gross. Asks if there's anything on Gossip Girl about little Jay. Does a little background check. is this girl like, who is this girl? There's nothing. So then Chuck approaches and he's like, hi, I'm Chuck. I mean, I know you're Chuck Bass. She's all giggly. She knows who he is. And she's like, I'm Jenny, And so she's like, oh my God, this popular guy is talking to me. This is so awkward, but exciting. And he's like, let's go somewhere like where I can hear you for a second. Okay. So we're going into now the stairwell away from the
upstairs.
And now we're starting with the trigger warning number 2. This is now pilot episode, first episode. Chuck Bass has now started essay assault number 2. Essay number 2. Starts, oh, you're so pretty. Like, have a drink. Like personal space against the wall is diminishing. And she's getting uncomfortable because she's 15 and she's not really sure what to do. And
15?
Yes. And he's a senior. She's like 15. When she filmed this, she was like 12.
Sheesh.
But in the show, yeah. And so what in the actual fuck? And I don't think that this stood out to me as a teenager as being crazy, which is even crazier. So now as an adult, 18 years later, I immediately watched this and was like, are you kidding me? This was normalized for us. But the thing is, yes, this is normal for us. SA and abuse happens like this commonly. So to show it on TV might be a little graphic.
Chuck likes to brag about his conquests, not his victims.
Yeah, we joke about it, right? Victims. Like, we're real though. It's scary. But that really happens. So wanna, just not good. And then we cut back to Dan and Serena. Things look good. They're outside the gig and walks up and is like, sees Rufus and all this. And I don't know, acts like he meets Serena for the first time. Rufus is like, hi, Serena. I don't know who you are. Weird or cool? Not sure. Okay, cut to the party. We got Akon playing. Chuck is going on, trying to kiss little Jay in the stairways. He starts to kiss. 7 seconds of this. I counted. She's squirming. And that's a long time for television or cinema. 7 seconds of squirming. It's so uncomfortable, and she does an amazing job acting. Chuck finally backs off, and Jay smartly tries to get him back to the party. Let's go back, And he suggests to drink some champagne. And she's like, maybe one. Cuts back to Dan and S flirting on their date. And then Dan gets an SOS text again from little Jay. But last time she said SOS, it was about a dress and bundles. But does Big Brother, is he gonna drop that? And then also, it's funny, it's SOS -J in the text. Even though, her number's in his phone, right? I don't know. Whatever. So Dan is like, dude, my sister's blowing my phone up. It's not okay. And she's like, well, if Chuck is there, it is not okay. We need to go, and I'll go with you. Again, transporting I Dream of Jeannie. They're on the other side from Brooklyn to Upper East Side in 2 seconds. They're crashing the party. Blair's like, what the hell is Serena doing here? And she's like, looking for little Jay. And, at this point, they're cutting to they're on the rooftop now. Chuck is fully on top of her. She's screaming. He's got his hands on her. This is bad. Okay. And then somehow they find the hallway. They run up and yeah, they find her. And then Gossip Girl blasts the whole party and the beep, 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 because Serena's been spotted. Now Serena, is around the party she wasn't invited to. So Blair gets pissed, storming around, and they start looking around. And now Chuck is just trying to assault her. Then come in Dan and Serena. Dan is just perfect timing on the roof. Boom, boom, boom. And
Chuck, get off of her!
Serena says that. And then Dan, he starts to hey, it's not what you look. Bam! Dan is just right in the jaw. Right in the jaw. No words. Chuck can't even.
Don't you ever touch her again!
And then Serena's punching him. Don't you ever, you fucking jerk! Gah! So much rage, but like they save the day. Dan punches him the heck in the face, and he goes, you know, my name is Dan Humphrey, and that's my little sister. Because they kept forgetting his name. And he's like, who the hell are you, man?
Dan, is it?
Humphrey.
Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Dan Humphrey. That's my little sister. Mic drop. Okay? So fucking crazy. So we're on the last page of notes here. I mean, this is just, it's a lot. It's stressful. It was exciting. I was getting my outfit ready. I was meeting all these new characters. I was recovering
name is Dan Humphrey.
From like all this stuff that happened in the kitchen with Serena, with the friendship with Blair, you know, inappropriate jokes about divorce. I don't know. Flashbacks to tech. It was a lot. So then Chuck says to Serena that she's a slut. I hate that word. He says that Serena's a slut. We don't like to say that anymore. We don't like to say that anymore. Not appropriate. Okay? So then Dan, Serena, and little Jay, arm in arm, they march and they leave out the party. And Angels and Airwaves, the gift plays. And Blair eyes them as they walk out. Just imagine that moment.
Cute.
Okay, and then Blair, like I said earlier, she's rocking that poof. And then she's standing there and she's seeing them leave the party. And it's this ultimate Scorpio RFB resting bitch face. And she's following them out. And then Chuck is coming down the stairs behind her, and the camera slows and stills on them, you know, and it's the first glimpse of the power couple to be, right? And Chuck goes, like, I think we have a common goal, or like, you know, like, I don't like Serena and you don't like Serena, and just seeing them together for the first time as one of the audience sees, like, they look good together, even though he's pretty fucking evil.
Wait, so he's not in jail in the second episode?
Nope. No. And none of the people at the bar who sold 17-year-old alcohol, no, nobody's in jail at this point. No. But because, you know, Serena had to get her own friend Chuck off her. She said, oh, as soon as you got that SOS, and if Chuck's at the party, like, it's bad. Like, they know that this guy's a fucking predator. And it's sad that that's part of the character and the normalization. No one tells on him. Nobody says anything about underage, what this, what that. We'll see in episode 2. Because I'll be back for that with y'all. But yeah, so the episode ends. So we see that iconic, you know, they storm off the party. We got the gift by Angels and Airwaves, the resting bitch face that follows him all the way out. The first shot of blue and purpley lit Blair and Chuck. And the episode ends, once again, with a shot of Serena looking out a window. Sad. This time it's a cab and she's gazing, and we hear Gossip Girl come in with Serena making a heroic exit from B's party. Too bad for her, there's school on Monday. XOXO. Gossip Girl. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the pilot. That's Jack Cam. This is the Met Steps. This is your host, Alexandra. And this is your producer,
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Brenty! Thanks for tuning in. This was our first go. And I hope that you can join the conversation. There is a lot of people in the community and fandom of this world that I have been following.
Yeah, I hope you never get that meta.
And I'm just so excited to start a conversation, relive, rewatch, reflect, and, you know, just re-embrace a really cool, pivotal show. So even though there were some bad things, there were some good things, we're just gonna take it all in and reflect, okay? So cheers. Again, sponsored by Tap Water. Check your local fountain or water facility to ensure that you don't need to filter it first here. I know I don't. Signing off. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
XOXO. Gossip Girl.
Actually, I'm Alexandra.
If I told you things I did before, told you how I used to be, would you rewatch Gossip Girl with me?